How's it going, YouTube? It's your boy Tossinax here, coming at you with a deck profile. Today I'm bringing you Live Twin Spright, and it's the deck that I played during the Remote Duel Extravaganza Winamat, and I got to win the lovely Rescue Squad Winamat, which was super cool. Um, I'll go right into the deck list, and I'll talk about my matchups afterwards. And yeah, so we'll get right into it. I'll explain a little bit as we go through, just not in super in depth. So we have triple Lilia and two Kill, and then we have one Frost. Just to keep the rounded 6 monster count for the live twins. It also lets us have 5 main starter names. Also, that rounds out because we have triple Sunny Snitch and two secret password to basically all be starters. Secret Password as a starter gets to Life Twin Sunny Snitch. Life Twin Sunny Snitch lets you get to Lilia or Kissikill. So you basically have 5 starters and 5 starters for an equal 10. So the odds of opening them are almost insanely good. For the sprites, you have 3 blue, 3 jet, 1 red, and 1 carrot. Carrot was honestly a huge MVP during the tournament. It negated a couple traps and it negated a few branded fusions, and basically made my opponent play in a negative way in order to out the spell trap negate that I had currently on the field, and it was really nice that way. Triple starter. Starter was obviously good for the spells and traps. Smashers. Gamma Burst was honestly MVP. And 1 double cross. This rounds out the entire Sprite package. Smashers was really nice during the event, but Gamma Burst genuinely was genuinely one of the best cards in the deck. For the power spells, I played triple enemy controller and 2 triple tactics. Basically, the idea was that these are both steal your opponent's cards, in a sense, because they let you take control of a monster, but also they lend utility in their other respects. So triple tax is just really good, right? It lets you draw 2 or take control or look at your opponent's hand and rip 1. But enemy controller was really powerful because it lets you dodge target effects. So like dogmatic punishment. During testing, I dodged a lot of like Fenrir and Arise Heart. During the event, I think I only dodged punishment during the event. I dodged 2 Veilers during the event too. So yeah, it was just good for utility that way. And then the last level 2 I play is one Imperia because I don't play Pot of Prosperity. I don't think I really need it in the deck. The big issue because the deck is actually really consistent by itself. You don't really have the extra deck space to be managing cards like that, but also the live twin combo draws you a card during the combo, and then I didn't want to do my combo and then do Pot of Prosperity afterwards because a lot of the reason why people play Prosp is to make decks more consistent, and the idea was that I didn't want to do my combo and then dig for a hand trap and then lose my toolbox in the extra deck after that. So the idea was basically just instead of that, let's play Pot of Greed and have Epuria and Kiss a Kill be able to draw you a card, which was really good. And then also the Live Twin Frost nets you a draw during your opponent's turn if they add a card to their hand. So for the last 9 cards, I played Hand Traps, which was 3 Ash, 3 Nib, and 3 Veiler. The Veiler was in here instead of Imperm, mostly because of Forbidden Lance. I was a little scared of playing Kashtira, and thankfully I didn't have to, but I was a little frightened of the matchup because during testing it was the hardest one to beat, especially going second. But this being able to dodge Forbidden Lance, so they were still affected by stuff, and then having Nib was really good. Ash came up a lot, mostly just because of Branded Fusion. Other than that, other than the Branded Fusion, Ash only came up a single time against Trap Tricks for the Parallel Exceed to keep them off Rafflesia. For the extra deck, we played 3 Kissico, 2 Lilia, and 1 Trouble Sunny, which is really, in my opinion, a standard. Kisakill's Lilia, I was thinking about bumping to 3, but I was a little glad I didn't because I used almost every card other than Lingaribo in the extra deck during the event, and Zeus. But you kind of have to have Zeus. I also didn't summon Trouble Sunny a single time, but I threatened it with IP. So this is the draw effect. This is the pop effect. This is the one that lets you non-target send if it's in the graveyard. IP Masquerena and one Avermax. So these are your two Link 4s. These are the only Link 4s you play. Avermax is mostly just in here because you have IP and it lets you threaten against huge towers monsters or like a rival cybers. I thankfully didn't have to play into a rival cybers, so that's good. One Phoenix and one Unicorn. Because you play the Evil Twins lock you into Fiends from the extra deck, so you don't actually get to play your entire extra deck. I did think about playing the Unchained monster from the extra deck, but I just couldn't really find the space, and it just didn't really seem to fit the deck. Um, Phoenix was a lot better. Phoenix worked. Phoenix actually played a big role against Traptrix, and then against Branded Branded Despia in game one. I was able to summon Phoenix and actually push for game with it because it was 1900. Then Unicorn is just there for IP plays if I get locked in the Fiends. One Linger Evo. Mostly just there for Ibly, but also because the Live Twin monsters in the main deck, other than Frost, are Cybers, so it actually plays a big part in being a trap negate. And then the last four cards in the extra deck are your Exceeds. It's two Gigantic, one Sky Cavalry, and one Zeus. Sky Cavalry is the one non Zeus Exceed that I play other than it was the one non Zeus Exceed other than Gigantic because of the bounce effect. I think is personally better instead of destruction effects because you have a lot of destruction protection when it comes to like branded opening and stuff like that. So the idea is that at least in this scenario, you have the ability to get rid of a card on the field, and also getting rid of Mirror Jade by bouncing it doesn't trigger it. For the side deck, I will mention that side decks are for locals are always different, but I felt like this was a pretty rounded side deck to take into an event, and it honestly paid off in a lot of way. I have two Ghost Spell. Uh, Came out really clutch against Branded Despia. Basically won me the game against them. One Ibly. I didn't side this, or I didn't see it a single time I sided it in. I only sided it a single time against Trap Tricks, but I didn't see it. One Mind Control and one Change of Heart. To keep on the theme of stealing your opponent's cards. Also, it was really good. I've noticed that cards that take cards from your opponent are really good into Kashtira because they don't really have a chance to lock you. Most of the time, they don't want to dedicate their normal summon to Ibly, so they'll usually go for like just dodging Nib instead and sitting on a Rise Heart set 2 pass. This lets you force out the Forbidden Lance and then lets you play around certain cards that way. And also lets you basically forces stuff from your opponent, which is the best part about it. But it also gives you free link fodder depending on how hard they hand trap you. One Duster and one Cosmic Cyclone for background removal. I also played three evenly matched in the vein of background removal, but it came up against Brandon Despia as well. I sided these three and Ibly in and Duster in against Trap Tricks. I didn't really think Cyclone was going to be fast enough considering that they use all normal traps. And you can't really, um, I thought the one Trap Tricks protected against targeting set cards on their field. I think it's just destruction once per turn. So, but I didn't side in the Cosmic against them. I probably should have, but honestly, I didn't need it in the end at the end of it all. Two Dimensional Barrier. Basically for the same reason as Ibly, but I never got to side this in. The one game that I went second was against Trap Tricks. And or the one game that I went first was against Trap Tricks. And game one against Despia, and so I never ended up setting it in. Same thing with Anti-Spell, I never ended up setting it in, but it was definitely one of those cards that I was going to. Originally, these were going to be Denko Sekkas, but at the last minute, I figured anti-spell would have been stronger. It hits cashier, it hits branded, and I was a little worried about Sky Striker actually, because the few testing opportunities I had against that, it really hurt. So um, I had anti-spell instead of Denko there, but Denko is really good against trap decks, which is and like Labyrinth, which is why. But yeah, that's the deck profile. If this is all you were here for, thank you so much for watching. I upload daily dealing book videos for high ranked matches on YouTube. I am gonna start doing that twice a day now. I do it daily normally, but I'm gonna do it twice daily now. But yeah, if you want to hear about the tournament matchups, stick around. So for round one of the tournament, I played against Trap Tricks. They're the only deck that took a game off of me. Um, and so it was game one of round one. Basically I scooped immediately after they did full combo. I had to basically read some of the trap tricks cards. I like trap tricks. I do know most of their effects. The issue is that like I had to read a little bit specifics on them. I also had to read Garden, because they actually got to like do full combo and ended up with like Garden, Sarah, Rafflesia, and three set back row. And I think one was a known nightmare, and the other two I didn't know. And they had obviously because of Rafflesia they had any trap hole quick effect. And my hand was pretty butt. My hand was like double cross, two Lila, a Sunny Snitch, and a Nib, and then I drew into another Sunny Snitch, so the game just wasn't playable. For games two and three, for games two I went first. I had Ibli in the deck, but I never saw it. I just set up Carrot, and I set up a couple Carrot negates, Smashers, and and I think I had Duster at the time in my hand, but pretty much they ended up scooping after they didn't draw after I negated the Parallel Exceed. Game three, I asked the Parallel Exceed again, and they were able not to get into Rafflesia. They ended up passing on Sarah, Parallel Exceed, and a sec back row. So I didn't really have to worry too much about stuff. I ended up just doing a similar combo, playing through whatever trap hole they had, and setting up a carrot negate um, with follow up with Sprite starter, so that way I could get into Sprite Gamma Burst on the next turn and go for OTK, and that's what I did. Round two, the opponent had a really big mishap, unfortunately, going on IRL. He was having some family issues. I'm not gonna get into it. I do know what happened, but I don't, or for the most part, but I don't want to talk about it. That's his personal stuff. But whatever happened with it, he had to leave, which is really unfortunate. And I honestly, like, heart goes out to him. Hope everything's okay. Round three, I was able to scout my opponent, because of what happened with my round two opponent. So I was able to watch his duel against. He played Branded Despia against Sky Striker. Um, and he had won, so I played against Brandon Despia in round three. Game one, I had the Ash, and then I full comboed with just the Sprite stuff. I didn't have any of the Live Twin stuff in round three. Um, Game two, I set up a normal board with a Furia red, carrot. Um, my board was carrot, red, gigantic, Apuria. The red and the carrot were left in attack mode because I had evenly matched and I had forgotten that I couldn't attack because I wasted my battle phase. But I did ended up getting rid of like a Mirror Jade and some cards that were abrasive there like that. He had a set Brandon Banishment that he couldn't resolve because he did it on my carrot summon, because if he didn't, I would have just negated it and flat out won the game. The unfortunate bit was that because of that he was able to make a slight comeback. Unfortunately for me, um, I had enough stuff left over, and I had drawn into a live twin kill off the Aperia, which basically let me win the game because then I ended up just popping stuff with Lilia, and I ended up stealing a monster. I ended up enemy controlling his Libellion. Um, so that was all really, really easy. But yeah, that's it. Again, if you didn't hear me earlier, but so thank you so much for watching. Peace.